Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast from Born Without Boundaries Tarot here on Astrology Motivation. For the latest updates, please be sure that you are subscribed to both channels. This is a big week, and if you want to know how it impacts you personally, then please do check out my website and schedule a personal reading. But this is a weekly astrology forecast so that you guys can understand the general energies released and created by the major planetary transits and planetary aspects this week. So there's a lot to talk about, which is why I have my little yellow sheet sitting in front of me. There are two major planetary transits, I would say, that are happening this week. One is Mercury transits into Libra. It is out of Virgo. It had retrograded back into Virgo. And now it is full on into Libra. It'll be in Libra on Tuesday. And the other huge one is Pluto goes direct. Now, the reason why Pluto going direct is so big is because it's basically dormant. It's dormant. Pluto goes dormant over the summer because Pluto goes digging over the summer. So when Pluto is like deep down in PI mode, when it goes into retrograde, it basically goes into review mode. But when it goes direct again, it's amped to get things done. And the way that Pluto gets things done is absolute destruction. It infuses things with this primal sense of urgency. So after this sort of introspective, retrospective, retrograde that it's gone through, it now knows exactly what it wants to act upon. And the reason why this is so impactful is it's square to the sun, and the sun is conjunct Venus. So what is it acting upon? It's acting upon the self. It's acting upon how you treat yourself, how you understand yourself, who the hell you are, and what you want to be. And since the sun is conjunct to Venus and it is in Libra, this has to do with how you look, how you feel about how you look, how you feel about your money, the money that you're making. And you could take some financial hits right now if it has not been aligned, if your finances have really not been aligned with, if you haven't really been respecting them and taking care of them the way that you kind of should. And what do I mean by that? I mean, do you make sure that you pay your bills first, you pay your rent first, you pay your mortgage first before you go and take care of everybody else? Because that's really going to start to crush you right now if you haven't. Because remember that Venus doesn't just rule beauty and romance, she also rules money, she also rules value. And so conjunct with the sun is like, have you used the resources, the material resources that you have, the financial resources you have to really take care of you? And how are you using it? And how are you spending it? And with that square to Pluto, it's going to become real obvious where you have not been correct or responsible. Now, here is the good news, that Sun is also trying to Saturn, and Saturn is also trying to Mars, and Mars is in this beautiful grand trine that we have this week. Mars is also trying to the Sun, and yes, the Sun is still conjunct Venus. So we have this energy of whatever we face and whatever bad news we get, we will know exactly what to do with that news, and we will not freak out. We will be able to see it clearly. We'll be able to remain objective about it, and with the help of Saturn and Mars, two normally malefic planets, but within this context, extremely useful, extremely helpful, because with them powering the sun, you will be able to figure out any complications, any uh-oh, maybe I shouldn't have spent that much, uh-oh, here's this bill coming out of the blue, uh-oh, did I just lose this job? You will be able to not only figure it out, but know exactly what to do with it. There is no planet in this cosmos that is more resourceful than Saturn. And with Saturn in the trines that it's in, it is in the perfect position to take the worst news and figure out how to make the best out of it. If you've ever known a Capricorn, you know they can take the tiniest bit of food and figure out how to make a meal with it. They are legitimately rock soup people. They'll figure out how to take nothing and turn it into something. And that's why it's such a blessing this week to have that beautiful grand trine that involves Saturn and Mars, because Mars will make sure that we have the vitality to be able to get the things done, and Saturn will make sure that we have the discipline to be able to figure it out, even if it's like, how am I down to $0 in my banking account, or how is this all of a sudden a problem in my relationship? And with that focus and that discipline, you will be able to figure out the worst of things. And I'm not saying the worst is going to happen, but as bad as it gets, and for a lot of us, it could be just pretty average, because there's other favorable aspects that are supporting us, that especially that grand trine is very supportive. So it doesn't have to be total annihilation and destruction. That is not what I'm predicting. But what I am saying is, whatever challenges you come across and whatever things Pluto hits, especially with finances, beauty, the way that you look, you can also expect that because Venus is a very vain sign, it has a lot of energy regarding how you look and how you feel about how you look. It could be that Pluto, that square to Pluto, is just saying, listen, enough is enough. I'm done with this. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with this aspect of myself, this aspect of how I look. I'm fed up with it. So it would be a time to take action. Now, if it was just that square to Pluto, it would be a big old red flag for me. But the fact that it's part of this grand trine with Saturn and Mars says it's not a red flag. Pluto is going to motivate us to end stuff that isn't working, to acknowledge stuff that isn't working, make us realize this has got to stop. Okay, and then you'll have Saturn to discipline and Mars to imbibe that energy, and the Sun to give us the confidence to actually do something about those things that needed to be done and needed to be finished. And that's why I think this is such a beautiful and highly productive week. We have, I'm reading my notes. Mercury moves into Libra around Tuesday. I told you guys. And what that means is we become very diplomatic in our mindset. It's not the greatest time to make decisions, but it's the greatest time to have conversations, listen and talk to people, and also talk through some serious issues you may be having with your relationships, with your finances. You'll be able to have a very dexterous mind that likes to balance things out. So this is a very balancing time for us, that we can figure it out. It'll be self-motivated with Saturn and Mars all positioned to be really, really productive energies this week. The fact that Mercury is going into a sign where it's really good at seeing both sides of things. It's really good at balancing things out, balancing checkbooks, balancing issues, balancing finances, balancing resources. All of this bodes very, very well for us. The Sun conjunct Venus is actually growing stronger. The conjunction started loose conjunction last week, and now this week it's getting tighter and tighter. It gets to about 3 degrees, and next week we'll see it go until about 2 degrees, 1 degree I think we get to. So it's actually growing stronger. And what Sun conjunct Venus is just this really powerhouse of optimism. I think that's how it's generally going to impact a lot of us. Powerhouse of optimism. It's happening in the sign of Libra. Venus is at home in Libra. It is one of the domiciles that she rules. So she's very comfortable there. Being comfortable with yourself. The Sun is comfortable in Libra. The conjunction of those two give us a great optimism when it comes to, hey, I'm worth working on. I'm worth seeing as beautiful. I'm worth taking this extra discipline and putting this extra effort into how I look and how I feel, which we're going to get into a little bit physically. Why? Because Neptune is square to Mars, and you also have Chiron opposite the Sun and Venus. So what that's saying is, if you've had medical issues, if you have aches and pains, we're going to have the sense and the wherewithal to actually get something done about it and take action to change those things about ourselves that are maybe causing us to be sick. Maybe finally going to the doctor when we know we should have gone to the doctor weeks ago, going to the doctor, listening to the doctor, being able to discipline ourselves, being able to get onto a new routine, maybe getting into chiropractic therapy. Chiron often deals with legs breaking or bones breaking. It could have a lot to do with just legs and bones. Think of he's the centaur, he's the horse, right? So if you've been having any kind of orthopedic issues, this could definitely be the time when you're like, I've got to get something done about this. I'm ready to go get a doctor's opinion, and now I want to take the action and do the and I have the discipline to be able to take the action and get those things done. This is a really good week to do those things. Now, Chiron opposite Venus can be draining. It can make you feel like you're not good enough, and it can very much compromise how you feel about yourself. But I think this is more like opening up the discussion of, because Venus, remember, Venus is in that conjunction with the sun, and she's trine to Mars, which is a much stronger aspect. So there's a sense of, I haven't been feeling good about myself. I haven't been feeling good inside myself, or I haven't been feeling good in general, and that could be what is keeping me from creating these beautiful relationships with other people. It could be what has been impacting me and affecting me within the relationship with my partner that I'm in. And so I'm going to tackle those things so that I can improve this thing between us. So I'm going to improve these aspects of myself. In other words, it'll be a wonderful time where you can take those things about yourself that, you know, those aches and pains and those body aches, or not feeling good, or some sort of, you know, not feeling good or not liking a part of how you look or how you've been feeling, and say, all right, I'm going to do something about it. Instead of imploding and feeling bad and letting it be acted out against my partner, or just, you know, compacted and get worse and throw me into a depression. No way. Instead, I'm going to be like, hey, you know what? If I'm feeling crappy, it's impacting my relationship or my ability to have relationships with people. And remember, all of this is playing out in the stage of Libra, which is all about relationships and partnerships with other people, but especially our intimate partnerships. So it's kind of like, all right, I've got to make myself feel good. I've got to make myself feel better. And I've got to take some personal responsibility for the way I look, for the way I feel, for the way my finances are, so that I don't feel so strained, and I'm not so accusatory toward my partner, or I feel worthy of being a partner. And if there have been impediments to you feeling worthy or confident to go out there and meet people because you want to, but you haven't, well, this would be the time to tackle those things that are getting in the way of your confidence, so that you can start building your confidence and really support your connection and being able to connect and relate to other people. This could also be a wonderful time to meet somebody that has the same afflictions as yours, not to exacerbate each other's afflictions, but to actually help out, getting into groups, getting into, classes, getting into some sort of group therapy that could really help you work out or understand, hey, I don't have to feel so isolated about this. Hey, I don't have to feel like I'm so alone about this. Hey, I don't have to feel like a loser about this, but instead I can talk to and relate to other people who would understand what I'm going through, number one, and also maybe be able to help go through this with me, help me get help together. So this is help me get help with them. So this would be actually a really wonderful time to actually be productive, especially where it comes to any set of impediments that were impeding your ability to feel good enough in your partnership, or to get a partner or create a partner, find a partner. I mean, listen, the way that we see ourselves, the way that we talk about ourselves or criticize ourselves is really huge. I mean, you could see yourself as completely ugly, but understand that the world doesn't see you that way. But if you don't feel good about who you are, if you don't feel good in general, especially if you're actually not feeling good, then it doesn't matter, because you're not going to get out there. You're not going to choose good partners. You're not going to choose people who treat you right because you don't feel good about you. So this is really that week where all of that comes to light, but in a beautiful atmosphere of cosmic support, where you're not going to be like, oh, see, I told you that this is how ugly I am, or this is how worthless I am, or I'm so broke, or no, it's going to be supportive in that the first reaction is going to be, well, what can I do about this? Because I don't want this problem in my way anymore. And I'm going to get down to the hard work of actually changing it and being able to discipline and figure out how to take care of these problems. You know, in some ways, Saturn really does us a favor in that Pluto would normally wipe things out immediately, just get it, just throw it away. But this beautiful trine that includes Saturn and that includes Mars, it's kind of saying, okay, I'm going to listen to you, Pluto. I'm going to see what needs to be gotten rid of, but we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're going to keep what works. We're going to have a strategy. We're going to definitely, we're going to change this, but we're going to change it over time so that it is a permanent change instead of just a reactionary one. So this isn't a very reactionary time. The objectivity that that beautiful trine is giving us, that air trine is giving us, is not going to allow us to be reactionary, but instead it's going to allow us to respond in a responsible and intelligent way to all of the issues that are coming up this week. So I actually really love this week. I think it's a kind of a breath of fresh air. It's going to be a hard working week, but it is going to be productive work. And there's no better time than when you feel like, oh, my hard work is yielding productivity. And it really is a time to dig down into those Libran aspects of improving our partnerships, improving the way that we look, improving the way that we feel and see ourselves in relationship to partnerships and our value and our worth of being worthy of a partner or being valuable within our partnerships. And you could take this all and you can also apply it to, if you are in a partnership, if you are with somebody, being able to partner with them in order to help them, in order to help the partnership, in order to build the partnership, in order to see where the aspects of the self have let the partnership down. And so how then do I improve the self to improve the partnership? And this is a really, really, I don't know, just like the perfect week to like dig down and fix those little things and fine tune them. Jupiter is opposite Mercury, which means there's still a lot of ideas, but because Mercury is going into Libra, we're able to weigh those ideas. We're able to slow it down and see which works, which doesn't. We're able to talk about them. We're able to communicate which ideas are really the best. And I'll tell you, those ideas that haven't been the best and those ideas that have just been stupid or reactionary are going to become very obvious this week. And where there may be a few hits to your pride this week, I have to say overall it will not be anything you can handle, and even the hits to your pride will be building blocks for the future. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. If you did, please remember to give it a big old thumbs up, because that really helps the algorithm. I know this isn't a live presentation, so you can't comment as I'm talking, but leave the comments below because I definitely read them and I definitely want to know. Now, remember, there are weekly zodiac readings on Born Without Boundaries Tarot. If you're not subscribed there, please go subscribe there. All 12 signs get their own personalized reading every single week over there. And remember, here, Monday through Friday, I do the live chat daily tarot card readings, so check that out. Look for that. So much content I'm releasing for you guys to help you enjoy astrology, enjoy tarot, and hopefully provide some sort of hope, advice, and direction for you each week. I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the videos this week.